All right, let's get into one of the all-time greats, Oscar Wilde's incredible novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray. It's this dark, fascinating story about vanity, influence, and the absolutely terrifying price someone might pay for eternal youth. I mean, just think about it for a second. What if you could make a deal where a painting of you took all the hits? It would get old, it would get scarred, it would twist and turn ugly with every single bad thing you did or thought. But you'd stay young and perfect forever. What would you do with that kind of freedom? It's a wild concept, right? So, our story kicks off in a London artist's studio, and it's here that a simple conversation between three men ends up sparking a tragedy that's literally supernatural. So let's meet the guys at the center of it all. First, you've got Dorian Gray, who's not just handsome, he's like the perfect innocent canvas. Then there's Basil Hallward, the artist who basically worships him. And finally, you have Lord Henry Wotton. He's this cynical, charming aristocrat who looks at Dorian's innocence and thinks, I could have some fun with that. And Lord Henry's words are like a poison that gets dripped right into Dorian's ear. He tells him that his beauty is the most precious thing he has, but it's gonna fade. He tells him to chase after every pleasure, every sensation, before it's all gone. And for the very first time in his life, Dorian becomes absolutely terrified of getting old. And this is the moment it all happens. Dorian is just staring at this incredible portrait Basil has just finished, this perfect image of himself, and he's just filled with dread. And in this fit of despair, he blurts out this wish that he would give his very soul if the painting could just grow old in his place. And what he doesn't know is, the universe was listening. So, with that dark wish now hanging in the air, Dorian goes out into the world, with Lord Henry's pleasure-seeking ideas buzzing in his head. And believe me, it doesn't take long for that magical portrait to get its first test. So, Dorian falls head over heels for a brilliant young actress named Sybil Vane. But here's the thing, he's not really in love with her, he's in love with her art. He loves watching her be all these different characters on stage. The second she falls in love with him for real, she tells him she can't act anymore because her love is more real than any play. Well, Dorian is just disgusted. He cruelly dumps her, saying she's worthless to him now. And when Dorian gets home that night, he notices something chilling. He glances in the mirror. Yep, still perfect. But then he looks at the painting, and there, on its painted lips, is a new, faint little sneer of cruelty. It worked. The wish came true. Now, when he finds out that his cruelty drove Sybil to suicide, Dorian actually feels a pang of guilt. For a second. But then Lord Henry swoops in and reframes the whole thing, calling her death this beautiful, dramatic, almost theatrical tragedy. And Dorian just grabs onto that idea. It lets him push all the guilt away and dive headfirst into a life with zero consequences. Okay, so now Dorian knows for sure that the painting is basically a mirror of his soul. His first move? He's got to hide the evidence. This is where his double life really begins. And this isn't a quick slide into darkness. We're talking about almost 20 years. He locks that horrifying painting up in the attic and just goes wild. Guided by this poisonous book from Lord Henry, he explores every single vice you can imagine. All these terrible rumors start swirling around him in London, but through it all, his face stays as innocent and pure as ever. That is, until his old friend Basil shows up, wanting to know what's really going on. In a moment of pure rage, Dorian decides to show Basil what he's become. He takes him up to the attic and reveals the monstrous thing on the canvas. As Basil stares in horror, Dorian's mind just twists everything around. He doesn't blame himself for the monster in the painting. No, he blames the man who painted it. And that blame just boils over into pure murderous hatred. Dorian grabs a knife and just kills Basil, right there in the attic. This is the absolute point of no return. He's not just a guy with bad morals anymore. He's a murderer. And the way he covers it up is just as chilling. He blackmails an old friend, a chemist, forcing him to use his scientific knowledge to, well, make the body disappear. The whole thing is so grotesque that Alan Campbell, the chemist, can't live with himself and later commits suicide. You see, Dorian's corruption is like a disease now, and it's destroying everyone he touches. But even after getting rid of the body, Dorian starts to realize something. You can't just dispose of your past. The guilt, the paranoia, it all starts closing in on him. He's completely haunted. He decides to run a little experiment. Can he change? Can he fix his soul? He tries to perform a good deed by deciding not to corrupt a young village girl. He then races up to the attic thinking, okay, surely the portrait will look a little better now. But it looks even worse. Why? Because the painting knows the truth. It knows he didn't spare the girl because he's a good person. He did it out of vanity, out of selfish curiosity to see if he could manipulate his own soul. So the portrait just gets uglier, now with a new look of hypocrisy added to the mix. And that's when he finally gets it. He is completely, utterly trapped. That painting has become his conscience, and there is no escaping it. He comes to a final, desperate conclusion. To be free, he has to destroy the painting. And this leads us right to the book's absolutely brilliant and shocking climax, where Dorian Gray finally has to pay the bill for that wish he made all those years ago. He grabs a knife to do the job. And in a perfect, horrible twist of fate, it is the exact same knife he used to murder Basil Hallward, the man who created the portrait in the first place. He raises the knife and plunges it right into the monstrous figure on the canvas, trying to kill the image, trying to kill his past, trying to kill his own soul. His servants hear a terrible crash and a scream. When they finally get the door open, they see something impossible. Hanging on the wall is the portrait of their master, looking as young and beautiful as the day it was painted. And on the floor is the body of a withered, wrinkled, hideous old man with a knife through his heart. They only know it's Dorian Gray because of the rings on his fingers. In trying to destroy the evidence of his soul, he destroyed himself. The curse was reversed. So what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, Wilde's novel is just this incredible cautionary tale. It's a huge warning about living a life based only on surface-level beauty and pleasure. It shows how powerful and dangerous influence can be. And most of all, it tells us that you can't outrun your own conscience. It's really all about that battle between the face we show the world and who we really are on the inside. And really, the book leaves us with this one final haunting question for ourselves. If every single choice you've ever made, every kindness and every cruelty was recorded on a canvas for everyone to see, what would your portrait look like?